This is how it happened. I fell in love. His name was Paul, and at first sight, I knew it would be a love story. He was a florist. He liked beautiful things. We lived cloistered in my apartment. We didn't need anyone else. We would stay shut up inside for days at a time. Sometimes it made us a bit crazy. I would have liked to hold his hand or kiss him in the street like any other couple, but we knew we had to be careful.
At the time, there was no law against homosexuality in France. However, the police used to follow men they knew to be gay and put their name on file for affront to public decency. A decree also banned 2 men from dancing together. Getting caught meant being arrested and fined. For the medical profession, homosexuality was seen as a mental illness to be treated in a psychiatric hospital with hypnosis, emetics, and sometimes even electroshock therapy.
When kept hidden away, love suffocates. Paul ended up leaving me. I was sad and angry. I needed a change of air. I wanted to see my family, Mamie, Etienne, my parents, Avalon. I even missed the priest. At home, nothing had changed. Etienne was still my confidant, and for Mamie, every day was a performance. I wanted to fool around, to recapture the days of my childhood. I was the Parisian who had returned home. I realized that, for the others, my homecoming was a major event. Mamie wanted to go on a picnic. All of a sudden, she came up with the idea. So we did as she said. As usual, she was the one who called the shots. We settled Mamie near the river in the shade of a tree. It was hot. And then we spent the rest of the day drinking. Mamie started singing. I would have given anything for this day to last forever. I wanted to forget Paul. By the end of the day, I could no longer see straight, and nor could Mamie.
In 1933, Nazi Germany wanted to purify the Aryan race. Jews, blacks and Romanis were hunted down. And so were those considered a threat to the future of the race, starting with homosexuals. Dr. Magnus Hirschfeld, who had been fighting the persecution of gay men across Europe, felt threatened and was forced into exile in France. His 1919 film, The First in Gay History, denounces the medical profession, which was determined to cure the men and women who at the time were known as inverts. It was prophetic. In Nazi Germany, gay men were sent to concentration camps, where they were subjected to medical experiments. They were given hormone injections. They were also offered voluntary castration as a condition for release. From 1937, they had to wear a pink triangle sewn onto their clothes.
1936. I had just turned 35. The party was over. The Paris of my youth no longer existed. The police commissioner organised more and more raids in places I usually frequented. I ended up at the police station and my name was put on file. That winter, we celebrated Christmas at home, as usual. Gustavo had made hats and I acted the clown, as if nothing had changed. Everyone could see that Mammy was tired. She didn't want to drink. She didn't sing like she usually did. A few weeks later, she died in her bed. We all cried. But I cried more than everyone else. I did everything more than everyone else. Etienne had convinced us that we should do something to celebrate her life. We dressed up to the nines and squeezed into the car. And we set off for the sea to listen to the old-time music that Mammy used to like. We picked flowers and threw them into the waves. She would have loved that. I just know it. With Mammy's death, something changed for me. I kept to myself. I remembered how sad Etienne was after the death of his mother. He repeated my words to me, that life is a struggle and you must learn to fight. So when Gustavo asked me to accompany him to Italy for a few weeks' holiday, I didn't hesitate for long. I packed my suitcase and away we went.
For many men, Italy was a kind of lost paradise, an imaginary place, free, steeped in an ancient homosexual culture. Homosexuality was tolerated, and the fascist rise to power in 1922 did not change that. For Mussolini, Italian men were far too virile to be gay.
Gustavo couldn't stay still. He had returned to the country of his childhood, but it was a country he barely knew. I followed him to Venice, Pisa, Rome. We even traveled all the way to Palermo. I spent all my savings, but that didn't matter. Happiness does not have a price. Gustavo would spend hours admiring Renaissance sculptures. He spoke continually of artists inspired by ancient Greece and Rome, of the perfection of these naked bodies. I think he saw an idealized, perfect self in the statues. Gustavo had always been a bit of a narcissist. But I just wanted to see those bodies in the flesh. And in Italy, there were plenty of handsome men around. At the seaside, everyone wore bathing trunks. And hidden behind the rocks, men would gather out of sight. We lived from day to day without thinking of tomorrow. Gustavo told me that he wasn't going to return to Paris. I was worried, as in Italy things were starting to change.
1938. Under pressure from the Nazis, Mussolini issued anti-homosexual decrees. Considered as political criminals, those who were caught had their names recorded on file and were imprisoned. And to prevent further propagation, Some were deported to the Tremiti archipelago in the Adriatic Sea. These men lived there under 24-hour police guard.
(1942). In Paris, there were Germans everywhere. Our promiscuous and lax behavior would endanger families and the motherland. That's what Maréchal Pétain said. Homosexuality was now a crime. I kept a low profile. I was terrified of being denounced. I was requisitioned to work at the Louvre post office. I was nearly 41. I sorted mail all day long. I tried not to think about anything. Etienne had joined a resistance group in Avallon. With Abbé Ferrand, he took in Allied pilots and helped them out of the country using the cars from his garage. I told him that he shouldn't get involved, to lay low. But Etienne replied that I was the one who had taught him that life is a struggle and that freedom is won through effort. I didn't sleep well, but I was proud of him.
During the Third Reich, from 1933 to 1945, more than 100,000 men in Germany were listed as homosexuals. Around 10,000 of them were sent to concentration camps. Most never received the status of Nazi victims.
After the war, Etienne got married and had children. No one in Avallon forgot his role in the resistance. I loved his son as if he were my own. I put all the photos from my youth into a box and my women's clothes into a chest. There were still friends who visited and who reminded me of the boy I had been. When I stopped working at the post office, I moved in with Mother in Avallon. I looked after her right to the very end, and I remained single. I had to wait until 1982,
1 year after the socialist François Mitterrand became president, to no longer be on file
as a gay man.